So let's explore some comping patterns on Say What. As I said earlier, the difficult thing about this song is that you have a long time on one chord. So how do you make that interesting? I always say number one is to groove. No one will ever fire you from a gig for grooving too hard. So in the beginning of the song, we have those hits on the second half of the measure. So it's also, there's a lot of space there, which makes it, I think, makes it groove that much harder. So I like these nice open chords. This is E minor 7/11 and D minor 7/11. They just have a nice spaciousness to it. So I think that's sort of the feeling of this tune anyway, just starting the tune out to give that vibe. It's kind of got a mysterious little vibe. And then just locking that in with the bass player and letting the space happen. So that's what we can definitely do in that first chorus, just to establish that vibe and the feeling. I mean, comping so much is about establishing a vibe about a song, right? So I think right off the bat, we just lock in with that groove, with the bass 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Because that gives space for the drummer to fill in a little bit with the brushes and also builds that anticipation. Because in the next chorus, we're going to go into some walking, right? So we start to move it forward. So in the second chorus or second set of comping ideas I'm sharing with you are ways to get away from, in these voicings, I have the root in the bottom. Well, that's why I hire a bass player, is to play the root, so it frees me up to play colors on top of that. So this second time through comping pattern, I wanted to share with you some of my favorite voicings and also an idea about the harmony here. Since we have this static modal sound, D Dorian, I, as a jazz player, want to always create a 2/5 sound. So I add what's called its related 5, 2/5. So if I see D minor 7, D minor 7, G7, to me it's like peanut butter and jelly. They always go together. So I'm going to add this really nice open, also this very open sounding D minor 7, 9, and then G7, 13, 9. It's a nice one because you don't have to move around a lot. And again, laying into a rhythmic pattern that's really strong. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So some syncopation, but locking in it. 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we do the same thing on the modulation. So I'm really using the same chords on the E flat section as well. That way we have that continuity, and with each repetition of that, that's what makes it groove harder to me. Just like really digs in there. So again, I'm using these voicings. I don't have the root in them. Again, I don't need to play the root. That's, again, why I hired my friend Marianne McSweeney to play on that track. Now, the third example I show you is when things start to open up a little bit, right? So the soloist is starting to open up a little bit, getting a little bit, maybe playing more notes or more runs and stuff. So we can open up in the rhythm section. So I wanted to share with you again some nice inversions. In this case of D minor 7, I have this D minor 7, 11. So these are all sounds that I cultivate that sound good to me in terms of voicings. D minor 7, 9. This is also D minor 7, 9. Now you might also recognize these as F major 7 voicings. So I'm putting a chord substitution on there that just enhances all the color. And you might recognize that as F major 7 again, but when you hear it against the bass D, you get a D minor 7, 9. And then I go to that 2/5 sound, so G7, 13. I do have a root on this, but it's on the top. So I don't always have to have the root on the bottom. So anyway, and then rhythmically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So stuff over the bar line makes it swing harder. Then a variation on that, just a rhythm that locks in. 1, 2, 3, and 2, 3, 4, 1. Again, I'm implying that 2/5, G7, 13. D minor 7. And then on the E flat section, I wanted to share with you a cool way that you can, for instance, on a static minor chord, I can connect my inversions. These are drop 2 inversions. I connect it with a passing diminished chord. And I'd like to thank Wes Montgomery for this. Anyway, so again, with some syncopation. So I create some motion, but it's still locking in the pocket. So on the E flat minor section, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 2, and 3, 4. And then on the last A section, I go back to that, a reflection of that very initial rhythm, 3, 4. But this time, I've placed it on the beginning of the beat. So I'm displacing it. So all these little things about rhythm and where you place them are really important in comping and letting things groove and develop. So anyway, I hope you enjoy some of the voicings I've shared with you and some of those syncopated rhythms.